At one of Taree's largest manufacturing concerns. Good evening. In other news, two motor dealers in court over alleged $400,000 car stealing racket, young Tamworth schoolgirl killed in a bus accident, and Olympic gold medalist to compete in Grafton to Inverell Cycling Classic. A man believed drowned in a rock fishing tragedy at Grassy Head has been found alive in Perth. Daniel John Whalen, 27, of Bowraville, went missing on July the 19th.
A widespread police search lasting several days was organised when Whalen was reported missing. His fishing rod was found on rocks at Grassy Head. Eventually, the search was called off and Whalen was presumed drowned. However, police suspicions were aroused when a man answering the missing man's description applied to the Social Security office in Perth. Photos were sent over and the man was positively identified. No charges have been laid at this stage. However, Sergeant Graham Gunn of Gladstone Police said inquiries were continuing. Whalen is married and his wife is expecting a child.
A recession in heavy industry is causing grave problems for the Lansdowne Engineering Company near Taree. The company, which has been operational for around 2 years, has had to retrench a large number of workers.
This is only one of 5 blocks that go to make up Lansdowne Engineering. It was one of the largest employers on the North Coast, but now over 100 men have been retrenched since the new year. 50 of these lost their jobs only last week, and the reason given, simply a lack of work.
What happens in industry, especially heavy industry, it requires a very heavy forward workload in order that you can maintain your staff at an economic level. And we just don't have that.
Is there a lot of machinery not being used now?
A hell of a lot.
What's to be done with it?
Well, what we're going to do, we have a labour force now that can aggressively tackle what is out in that marketplace. We can accommodate small runs.
And what's for Lansdowne in the future?
Well, hopefully, and given that the economy picks up, then I would say that Lansdowne will once again rise out of the ashes.
Is there a chance of men getting the jobs back?
I would say that before we would entertain increase in our labour force, we would first ensure that those people that have been laid off are given an opportunity if they have the skills necessary.
Life in the northwestern town of Mungandai is returning to normal. Mungandai has been hard hit by the flooding that is still being felt in most of the far northwest of the state. For the last 3 weeks, Mungandai has been completely cut off by road, with the exception of about 2 days. During that time, the Barwon River, which runs through the town, reached its 3rd highest level in recorded history.
Of course, not as big as the 1976 flood, but it did cover a very extensive amount of country, particularly back towards Carrara, Weemallow and back towards Boomah in that direction. The town was completely cut off, with the exception, as I say, of the probably 1.5 to 2 days when you could get to Moree. And school buses, of course, didn't run.
Food supplies were one of the biggest problems in the town. There was one airlift of milk into Mungandai and a helicopter flew 2 loads of meat into the isolated town. According to Bruce Hutton, the locals had to make do as best they could.
With the communication was by light aircraft, and we were getting probably 5 flights some days in from Moree, and that really was what saved the town, was the fact that we had this outside communication with light aircraft all the time.
With the first food supplies getting into the town, it was a time to restock empty supermarket shelves. Some lines of food had completely sold out, while most were down to the bare minimum. The replenished shelves gave local housewives the opportunity to do their first real grocery shopping in 3 weeks. But it's not only the town residents who have felt the full brunt of the floods. Landholders in the area have also been badly affected. Real fears are held for the survival of thousands of head of sheep.
Now they've got a problem with full wool ewes lambing, and it looks as though these sheep will probably be 6 weeks or 2 months before they can be shorn. It is a bit of a problem.
As the floods recede in parts of the west, farmers are counting their losses. In some cases, it's running into hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Kevin Lonigan's 1,500-acre wheat crop appears a write-off. Most of it was underwater for 6 days. When the Whalen and Gilgil creeks peaked on his property Rio Grande between Weemallow and Mungandai, all Kevin could do was look after his lambing ewes inside the homestead levee bank. The waterlogged wheat crop is unlikely to yield this season.
Well, Peter, it's hard to assess it fully. We're still living in hope that it something might come of it, but in sections it came out early enough. It tends to be still greening up a little bit. We did notice this morning only that a few shoots are still coming from some of the almost appear to be dead wheat, but we feel that it's virtually probably a write-off. We're just living in hopes, that's all.
Have you been able to put an estimate on the loss in dollars and cents?
I think conservatively, probably $100,000 of a wheat we probably lost through the flood this year.
That's a fair amount.
It's a lot of money, Peter, yes. It's going to be very hard to pick that up in the years to come.
Tamworth schoolgirl was killed this afternoon when she was hit by a bus. The accident occurred just after school had finished. Catherine Bruce was a schoolgirl at Rosary College, Tamworth. She was believed to be 14 years old. Late this afternoon, details of the accident were sketchy. Police were still carrying out investigations. The accident occurred on the Worrell Road, not far from the school. All that's been released at this stage is that the school bus and the girl came into contact. Police, ambulance and detectives attended the scene. And we'll return with more 9/8 regional news right after this commercial break.
The simple sorghum seed. It multiplies and multiplies until it meets the midge. Which is why DeKalb has created DK470, the first government-tested midge-resistant grain sorghum to multiply and multiply despite 3 times the midge. Plant DK470 and be lord of the midge.
G'day. I've been invited to a special banquet, so I'm making something special. Slice the top off a bread loaf, pull out the middle. Now, where's the cheese? Australian Edam, of course, because it's actually better than the imported stuff. So, some Aussie Edam, some meat, some capsicum, some onion, tomato sauce, yeah, splash of sauce, some more Aussie Edam, and into the oven. And serve it while it's hot. They'll love it at the banquet.
G'day, I'm Moddy Modular. Just look at this fantastic modular swimming pool. I'll bet you thought you could never afford your own custom-built pool. Well, you can. With those nice modular people, plan your own shape. And before you know it, wacko! Modular, the incredible difference. Your own family favourite in-ground sanitised finished swimming hole. There's all sorts of copings, like Butte new waterline tiles. It's bonza to have your own modular pool.
Contact your licensed modular pool builders in these centres or phone 666 922.
From Mitsubishi comes the 4-wheel drive fleet, bred to meet whatever awaits on the open terrain.
Express utility with muscle to match the man on the land.
Mitsubishi 4-wheel drive wagon, fulfilling the dream of off-road luxury.
And now, introducing the new Pajero Super Wagon for a drive more adventurous than ever.
It's a range of vehicles featuring Mitsubishi's advanced 4-wheel drive technology.
It's another Mitsubishi first.
2 motor vehicle dealers have appeared in Armidale Court in relation to an alleged $400,000 stolen car racket. Clifford Edward Wright, 54, a company director of Armidale, is charged with 7 counts of receiving stolen motor vehicles. Thomas Norman Lowe, 47, of Uralla, a motor trader, faces 5 charges of receiving stolen motor vehicles. Wright and Lowe were remanded to Armidale Court of Petty Sessions on the 19th of September. Stipendiary Magistrate Mr Viv Klimas continued the bail that had previously been granted to the 2 men. A second large car park on the other side of the field day site produced congestion at Agquip today. There was some congestion, however, and it was not at the site or on the roads.
Over 90 aircraft parked on this airstrip today. Another 20 aircraft landed, dropped passengers before taking off again. There were helicopters and every kind of fixed-wing aircraft. And it wasn't Sydney, Bankstown, Melbourne or Brisbane. It was Gunnedah Airport on the second day of Agquip. The Agquip site has been extended to accommodate 80 extra exhibitors. It tended to spread the large crowd today over a larger area, making access to most sites easier. The emphasis on conservation of all kinds was shown in trees, fish and soil exhibits. Minister for Agriculture Jack Hallam's preoccupation with soil conservation was translated into these formidable displays demonstrating additional monies being spent in this area. The mice plague forecast for the spring and summer influenced many exhibitors. A lot of different devices were featured on a number of stands. There's only about 8 hours of AgQuip left tomorrow. It's an immense show. If you would like to see a range of things here, particularly, organisers advise you to get a site plan in the handbook and mark those sites down and go directly to them. In the 8 hours that are left, it's only possible to see about 30 sites during the day, and there are 450 here this year.
Some major changes are to be made to the annual Manning Aquatic Festival. Changes were discussed at a meeting of the festival committee last night.
The Manning Aquatic Festival is now recognised as one of the biggest speedboat events in Australia. Its 35-year history has seen a tradition of fine boat races and exciting entertainment. However, this year there will be a number of changes to the festival's program.
We've made some pretty dramatic changes, Mark. We've moved the Queen crowning night, which has been traditionally on the Monday night, over to the Friday night. We're introducing a ball the Saturday before the Aquatic Festival, which will be a Queen presentation or a Queen candidate presentation night.
The Queens will now play a greater role in the festival?
I think so. I think these changes are specifically designed to do that, to reward the girls at the time of the festival. In the past, the Queens have been crowned and then she's not used again until the next festival. This way we'll be able to use her during the event.
You're also hoping to make changes to the Straight River race?
Yeah, looks like we may have heats run this year in the Straight Mile Classic and an increase in prize money if all the sponsorship goes ahead, plus an additional 5 races which will be attracting much larger prize money, again through a major sponsor. I think this will make for the fastest racing we'll probably have seen.
Tamworth's controversial artificial surface hockey field is again in the limelight. Now the dispute is over a fencing proposal the Hockey Association has submitted. The Tamworth City Council Planning, Development and Transportation Committee spent an hour this morning discussing the hockey field fence. It will be designed to manually collapse in times of flood. The meeting this morning covered all the pros and cons of a fence of this kind in Tamworth's floodplain, and there was some argument amongst the aldermen present. Some of them felt the council had been trapped into allowing the project. Another comment was the artificial surface should never have been approved in the first place. But the general feeling was that council had gone this far with the project and it might as well go all the way. The recommendation from the committee meeting was for the Hockey Association to put forward a development application for the fencing. Once that was done, the project would more than likely be approved. This recommendation will be put to council at next Tuesday night's meeting. President of the Hockey Association, Ken Truman, says it's hard to understand what the fuss is about. He says people should have realised a fence would be included in the project.
We would be certainly very disappointed if it's not accepted. I mean, the whole basis was put up originally and approval was given for a fence at the time when the plan was put up. What we've had, of course, is that the hockey's been put in a little bit of a position of being the meat in the sandwich, where people have used what we're doing to try and obtain benefits for other parts of Tamworth.
A severe windstorm has wrecked the motorised hang glider of a young North Coast pilot. Dean Jeffries of Missaboti was to attempt a flight from the North Coast to Roxby Downs in South Australia.
Dean Jeffries' record attempt was to be part of a protest against the decision to go ahead with uranium mining at the giant Roxby Downs mine. The attempt, the 2,000-kilometre flight, has taken months of preparation, with Dean selling off most of his belongings as well as farm machinery to help finance the project. But those plans have now been dashed.
Well, last night I was offered a farewell party and I came home to find the wind was it was gale force winds. There was trees down all over the place. And the glider that I tied down had blown away into this barbed wire fence here, and it's just made a mess of it. The glider's got holes in it, and aluminium tubes bent, and propeller's broken, and it's just a mess.
Dean said he intends to repair his craft if he can get the necessary funds and make a further attempt at what would have been a unique flight. Dean has named his craft Imagine.
That's a tribute to John Lennon. He wrote a beautiful song before he died. About peace and unity with all men, and if anyone can listen to those words, it's beautiful. If everyone could just live by that, maybe the world would be a happy and peaceful place.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
And we'll return with more 9/8 regional news right after this commercial break.
Here's something new to make more children happy to brush their teeth. New AIM Gel. We asked children what they thought about the taste and look of new AIM Gel. They love it. Listen.
Look, you can see right through it. It tastes nice and minty. Makes me want to use it 14 times a day.
Well, that's good news for parents, because proper brushing with AIM and now new AIM Gel helps remove plaque, whilst the fluoride in AIM helps fight decay. Fight plaque, fight decay. Brush with AIM.
Look at this dirt. The mystery stains. Kids.
Drive will get rid of these. Easy.
With a spray and a good hard rub.
Oh, I've forgotten about them, Gran. Double action drive drives out dirt and most stains in the wash.
By itself?
Dirt out, stains out. You'll see.
Well, I never.
Neither did I, until I put double action drive to the test.
Drive's double action ingredients drive out dirt and most stains for two-way clean.
We've all got a bit of old furniture that could look great if it was done up. Now it's easily done with Show Me How, a practical weekly guide to making and caring for the things in your home. The first issue gives step-by-step instructions on how to reupholster dining chairs. There are lots of useful ideas like this patchwork table mat, or how to treat scratches with a wax crayon. And there are hints and shortcuts for every job, whether it's recovering a sun lounge, making duvets, or children's lampshades. Show Me How, helping you turn your thoughts into action.
It's Budget Beaters time at Chandler's. Time for you to cash in on outstanding values that you'll find hard to beat. GE 2-litre 1800-watt whistling kettles, just $16.95. GE Deluxe 5-speed mixer gift packs, only $29.95. Sunbeam 850-watt clean sweep vacuum cleaners, $69.95. Sunbeam 4-at-a-time sandwich makers, now only $35.95. Spectacular values, yes, but hurry, they're selling at Chandler's right now.
Chandler's. We stand behind the product we sell.
Olympic gold medalist Kevin Nichols will visit Tamworth tomorrow. Nichols was the captain of the successful Australian 4,000-metre cycling pursuit team.
Michael Brenda from Kevin Nichols. Dean Woods, they'll almost certainly finish in this perfect formation. Three riders as Brenda goes up the track. Woods comes through underneath, and here's the gold medal to Australia. A sensational performance by Australia's pursuit team, winning the Australians' first gold medal at the 1984 Olympic Games.
Nichols will be in the Kmart Plaza from 12:30 to 1:30 tomorrow for a guest appearance. He's also announced that he'll be a definite starter in the GET State Bank Grafton to Infidel cycle race on September the 22nd.
One of the National Party pre-selection candidates for the federal seat of Cowper has bowed out of the race. Miss Wendy Machin this afternoon said she had decided not to seek pre-selection for Cowper because of personal and family reasons. Rate pegging, which is popular with ratepayers, came under attack at a conference in Armidale today. Rate pegging was described as an unnecessary political intrusion.
The conference was called to hear two leaders of local government in New South Wales, the President of the Local Government Association, Alderman Doug Sutherland, and the Shires Association President, Councillor Buzz Mackay. Alderman Sutherland said that local government should be able to make its own decisions.
We'd like to have the absolute freedom of choice and the individual council able to make its own judgment as to what is right for its area. After all, it's a democracy. We have elected councillors or aldermen making these decisions, and they are able to establish what is best for their own area and make rate variations accordingly.
Funding for country roads was also discussed today, especially in light of the 46% increase in Commonwealth funding announced in last night's budget. But Councillor Mackay said it hadn't gone far enough.
No, not at this stage, because when you look at the road construction cost index is rising at 50% or more than the CPI, and over the last number of years we've been receiving only a 5% increase when inflation has been up around the 10-12%. It's fairly obvious which way the road funding has been going.
It wasn't only machinery that was on show at Gunnedah today. The Gunnedah Jockey Club held its annual AgQuip race meeting. The first was 1,000 metres maiden.
Cordite's in front, 150 to go. Holding's running all over the shop, and then Ed Thor, but I think it might be Cordite's day today. He's nicely clear, about 3 lengths in front of Ed Thor. Yes, they're not going to catch Cordite today.
Cordite started at 3 to 1 and was ridden by Dean Brinsmead. Second was Ed Thor at 3s with Precious Boy at 25 to 1. Race 2 was the Improvers, and it proved to be a strictly local affair.
Punky under extreme pressure, and Europina got through on the inside to take the lead. Look at Stippling running all over the track, but it's leaning up to tackle them. Punky hit the front again, but tackled by Stippling. Stippling took the lead from Punky close to home, and I think Stippling has beaten Punky.
Stippling is trained at Gunnedah by Ken Cochrane and was ridden by stable apprentice Tony Stevens. The winner started at 9-2. Second was Punky at 9-4, with Europina third at 20s.
Meanwhile, on the other side of Gunnedah at the Agquip site today, they had the judging of the Inventors Awards. Some of the entries in the competition were quite ingenious, as Ted Hebblewhite reports.
Thanks, John. A large number of farm jobs will be made easier as a result of today's entries for the awards. They came from all over the north and northwest of the state. The entries fell into two categories, those that were over $250 and those that cost less. Some of the entries were so simple, many visitors went away wondering why they hadn't thought of that. Others were useful for a limited number of applications. The winner for the over $250 cost award was a trailer that would carry 7 rolled bales and was won by Max Chandler of Gilgandra.
Well, this carting one bale at a time on a front-end loader or forklift got a bit monotonous, so we decided we'd have to do something with it. And we devised this idea of carting 7 bales at once, which speeds the job up no end. This machine also can be used to carry a comb trailer, carry a comb.
For a harvester?
For a harvester, yes.
The smaller cost award was won by Graham Jenkins, also of Gilgandra. He entered this simple method of clearing a post hole of dirt after the post hole digger had completed its task.
I'm doing a bit of fencing and contracting, that sort of thing.
How'd you first get this idea?
Oh, well, I was trying to put them down with shovels and fencing on home place, and knew just how hard it was. And I came up with the idea of screwing it out, and that sort of seemed pretty easy idea, so I decided to try to make one.
Good luck to them in the National Awards in November in Orange. The livestock markets continued to firm in the north today. Some prophets were forecasting the end of the rises in the yards this afternoon, but there was no evidence of it today. At the Moora yards, there were 700 fed of good quality cattle. Those bullocks and steers were up 5 cents, while the young cattle were up by a similar amount. Those females, however, were back 2 cents. At Coonabarabran, there were 450 very good cattle in the yards. Those steers were up 4 cents, and the young cattle were up 4 cents also. For the females, those heavy cows were up 3 cents, and the heifers were up by a similar amount. At the Binnaway yards today, there were 520 in the yards there. Those bullocks and bulls were up 3 to 4 cents. Steers and light steers were up 6 to 8 cents, and those young cattle were up 3 to 6 cents. For the females, those heavy cows and number 3s were up 2 to 4 cents, while the heifers were up 6 cents. Of the 1,500 sheep and lambs at the Binnaway yards today, those suckers were up $3, the heavy lambs were up $2, while the grown sheep were firm. At Corindai, there were 449 in the yards there today. Those bullocks and steers were up 2 cents, and the young cattle were firm. For the females, those heavy cows were firm. Unfinished cattle, however, rose 6 cents. At Glenina's yards today, there were 1,260 sheep and lambs in the yards of fair quality. All those on your screen were firm. In a moment, some clear, sunny weather ahead.
Get your skates on for these girls' wear goodies at Best & Less, all under $5. Save $3 on these Easy Care interlock dresses, now only $4.99. And Best & Less cotton slacks in new season's colours, only $4.99, another $3 saving. Top them off with T-shirts, $2.99, or fashion knit tops at $3.99, save $2. And girls' briefs have tumbled, now 3 pairs for $2. So skate into Best & Less where you don't pay for any fancy overheads.
Sheep lice live and feed in the wool grease on wool fibres. That's why the new Outflank system works. It gets right down to killing lice in the wool grease where they live and feed.
Outflank is lipophilic. It's attracted to wool grease, binds to it and quickly kills lice. It's rain fast, weatherproof and goes on killing lice for a long time. There is no adverse sheep reaction, no unpleasant smell.
Outflank is applied through a specially designed leak-proof system. The new Outflank system kills lice where they live and feed.
When you have a yield that seems to go on forever, you need a combine harvester from Peel Valley Machinery, like Sperry New Holland's revolutionary twin-rotor TR85, or the conventional model 8060, or the giant 8080. Your choice of 20 or 25-foot fronts. Peel Valley Machinery backs you with first-class mechanical skills. When you need it most, Peel Valley Machinery.
United lent us the money for our new home.
United financed our pool.
We got United to fund our extensions.
United helped us buy a holiday home.
Get United for all kinds of home loans.
With United, you can choose from a wider range of loans with rates you can afford.
Let's get United.
It's been a fine, clear day throughout the north. No rain has been reported in the region, yet there has been some cloud to the north and to the south of the viewing area. Here are the temperatures along the coast, first of all. 22 at Taree was top today. 21 recorded at three centres, Kempsey, Gloucester, Foster. At Port Macquarie it was 19 today, with the overnight temperatures between 3 and 7 degrees. Up on the tablelands, 17 was top at Inverell, 15 at Armidale, 14 at Glen Innes, with the overnight temperatures fairly cool, -2 to +3. Over in the slopes and plains, top temperature there today was out at Walgett with 22, 20 at Narrabri, 19 at Moree, 18 at Gunnedah and 17 at Tamworth. The overnight temperatures were between 2 and 4 degrees. Down in the Hunter, 19 was common at the two centres we recorded, and the overnight temperatures were between 3 and 7 degrees. Satellite photograph that was taken at midday today showed where the cloud lay in Queensland and Victoria. There was only light cloud in the west. A close-up photograph shows that cloud in relation to some northern centres. An optic chart at noon today shows where the rain fell in the south over the continent in the 24 hours to 9 this morning. There was a high over the centre of our region that was not moving perceptibly. By 9 tomorrow morning, the high is expected to remain very much where it was today. A series of cold fronts are extended across the bight, but at this stage, they're not expected to affect the weather in the north. The forecast then for the Hunter, dry, cool to mild, partly cloudy day, mild northwest winds, and a top of 20 at Newcastle is expected. Mid-north coast, dry, cool to mild, sunny periods with a top of 22 at Kempsey and Taree. Northern tablelands, cool to mild day, partly cloudy, westerly winds, and a top of 17 is expected at Inverell. Slopes and plains, cool to mild, dry day, northwest to southwest winds, and a top of 19 at Moree. Tides for Foster and Crescent Head, there's a low there at 10:54 a.m. and a high at 5:31 p.m. Port Macquarie is expecting a low at 11:44 a.m. and a high at 1 minute past 6. Tomorrow the sun is expected at 6:24 a.m. and a set at 5:34 p.m. So tomorrow it's expected to be cool to mild and sunny throughout the region. Friday, much the same. Hope you're able to enjoy the clear weather. Here's John again.
Thank you very much, Ted. Our next scheduled bulletin, 7 minutes to midnight this evening. Hope you can join us then. Until then, a very good night.